Hello! My name is Grian, and today we're going to be building a suburban house. Now, I don't want everyone to think that I just do rustic or modern or whatever. I wanted to do a very normal looking house, so that's what we're going to be making today. And for this one, I want it to be very specific, so I'm even going to give you the dimensions. But what I want you to take from it is to make this your own if you can. So we need to do 12 blocks across. This is going to make up the front of the house, and 19 blocks back. Make that a full rectangle, and we have the base of our first rectangle. This is going to consist of several different rectangles, so let's just finish the first one before we get on to the others. Using quartz pillar, raise up all 4 corners by 17 blocks, and then fill the area directly between those pillars with birch wood, which is going to make up the primary blocks for this house. It may seem like an odd choice, but these two colours actually work really well together, and they match that more modern suburban house. So, once you've done that, we've got the walls of our first rectangle. Let's immediately finish the roof so that we can determine the style. With the birch wood, just go either end of the short sides, create 2 triangles as such, going up and in 1 block every time, and should finish with 2 at the top, which is going to be the peak of our roof. On the sides, we take some quartz staircase and create an overhang like so. The overhang itself will be quartz block, but the actual roof will be stone brick. Very careful to remember that. So we actually remove the layer that we initially made and run the quartz all the way along. So we're creating an outline around the top of this roof made of quartz staircase. This is going to make the house look really well defined, and this is our framework. Once you've done that, you then go and fill it in with stone brick. If this is going a little too fast for you, don't worry, because we're going to do it for all of the other rectangles to come. There's only minor details on the corners. As you'll see, there is a staircase going upside down on those. Once you've finished filling it in with stone brick, it should look something like this, and in itself could be a house, but the suburban house is all about layering up those different rectangles. What we're going to do on the left hand side, and be careful to remember where you put your front door, 7 blocks in, you make a short wall 3 blocks out, 2 birch and 1 quartz pillar. On the other side, you go 3 blocks in and make the rest of the rectangle as such. Where you put this doesn't really matter too much, but you do want a lot more space on the right hand side. We then go ahead and make exactly the same roof as we did with the main one. We're replicating the style every single time with the stone brick and the quartz framework. So that's the little addition on the left hand side. Remember that this is going to be our front door. On the right hand side now, just in front of that right hand pillar, we create 2 blocks, the birch and the quartz pillar, and we go up 11 blocks exactly. It's important that the wall here is shared by these 2 rectangles. We then go across 7 blocks and back 20. You should end up 1 short of the end of your original rectangle. We then go and fill in the rest of our framework and fill it in with birch wood. We then go on to progress to the roof, which we've already done a few of, so you really should know how to get this style down with the outline in the quartz and then the filler with the stone brick. However, on this one, we are going to leave a bit of a gap. While we're working on this area, a little detail you can do underneath those quartz ledges is have some upside down quartz staircases. And you can do this on both sides. All you do is leave 1 block space between them, and this just helps give it a bit more detail. I really should have left that till the detailing stage, but my mind works in mysterious ways sometimes. So now we need to go and finish the roof. This one has a 1 block center at the top, meaning that you need a half slab to link up the 2 ends. You then need to very precariously place all of the other filler. However, you want to leave that space there because the next rectangle we're going to make is the garage that's attached to the side. Placing another quartz pillar exactly diagonal to that corner, you go up 6 blocks and then across 7. You need to make sure that you still have your 2 quartz pillar and you're making an arch with the birch wood. However, you won't be filling this in with birch wood like everything else. With iron blocks, we can make the garage door front. But now we've done that, we're going to have to put another roof in. However, the orientation of the roof is now switched round 90 degrees. So this is going to go horizontally across the face of the house. So, we now need to go back 13 blocks and finish the rest of the garage. And this time, along this face, we will add our triangular roof. Again, using the same framework as before. This is why we left that gap on the roof there, so that when these 2 rectangles were laid out, we could connect them up properly. Trying to do that at an earlier stage would have been a bit messy, and you may have got the dimensions wrong. At this connecting point, we want to have the quartz wrap around, but then go into stone brick, and the rest meets the birch wall at the end. On this side, it's a similar story, where the quartz runs along the side of the wall, and then meets the stone brick. So, look, this is mostly the house finished. It just lacks detail. We've got the all-important shape, and it looks excellent. So, if you used my dimensions, it will look exactly like this. If you slightly tweak them, which I encourage, it will look slightly different. On the front here, we're going to add our first window and detail. You lay 3 birch blocks, 4 blocks of glass, and then another strip at the top. Shouldn't be too hard to copy this. We've wrapped again round some staircase made of quartz, and then a little roof made out of stone brick. What we're going to add now is a little porch area. So if you run along a quartz staircase outline from the top of the detail to the underside of this extension, we can make a really nice outcropping roof. On this little detail, you need to make sure it slopes up and doesn't directly connect. That makes it a lot more clean. We're going to leave a bit of space here for another window directly above it. It isn't going to connect all the way. This little detail is just going to be a 4-block high window on top of this ledge. However, we will want to bring forward that birch wall just a little bit to make it seem more prominent. The detailing is pretty simple, using some quartz staircases and the same roof pattern that we must be very accustomed to now, and some white stained glass panes with some oak fences beneath it. The reason it's oak is to contrast with the birch a lot nicer. If it was all birch, it would blend into one. On the corner, we're just going to add a little detail with a pillar made of oak fence. Again, the reason we're not using the quartz pillar is to try and add some variation. On the top here, we're going to add another window. However, this one will be slanted, so it's shaped to the top of the roof. It can't have escaped your notice that all of the details are coming out fairly similarly, which is why when we go to fill in a space, they look exactly the same. It's just the quartz staircase technique used over and over again, and I do encourage you to do something different every time. Even the doorway is mimicking exactly the same style with some oak fences either side. Very, very easy to imitate. The only difference here is that we've got some iron trap doors as a bit of a bonus. On this side, we're going to do another door. It's just, again, those quartz staircases stacked on top of each other with a ledge underneath and a ledge on the top. It's going to seem very repetitive, which is why I don't want to explain it in depth every time, because once you've got the hang of doing a couple of windows of various sizes, and that's what's great about this, it's quite a flexible design, whether you use slanted roofs or flat roofs or even half slabs, it works out really well and it's extremely flexible. I wanted to teach you the techniques as well as give you the dimensions, because it means that you can follow exactly what we've done here, or you could take it your own route and the techniques will guide you nonetheless. We're doing another little extension dormer out here, only this one is 5 blocks tall instead of 4, and it's slightly wider with 2 extra pillars. You can see quite clearly the design there. Above, we're going to do some more windows, and we're going to mimic what's on the front face of the house. The back isn't quite as important as the front, and it is important to be able to distinguish the two, which is why we have a protrusion of shape on the front and not on the back. For this design, I didn't add a back door, but I recommend that you do. Just something simple and subtle will do the trick. All of these window designs are the same throughout, they're just varying sizes to match the wall. Make sure they're not too dominating or too little. They all have something in common where they have a 1-block center. On the garage, you'll notice that there are no windows because I wanted to keep it semi-realistic. To make this house seem a bit more detailed, because we didn't have any depth, we didn't go 1 block back on the pillars, I added a line of birch staircases into the walls to help segment the build up, and this small detail